Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Waffle Press movie slash TV Hangouts. I almost missed that there,
Yeah.
but I didn't. I caught it. Like Superman catches Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen out of the sky. I'm your host, Diego Crespo. With me today is my co-host, Universa.
Hello. How are you? Good to talk to you again.
Yeah, good to talk to you again too.
Yeah.
Fun week this week. We had a lot of stuff come out. You helped hook up our show with our buddy, our stunt person, Aaron Vargas, talking
hmm
about the Fall Guy. Just want to recommend that episode and that movie because that's a really good movie, and I
Yes.
think that's one of our better episodes. So, yeah, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. Gene,
No.
what are we here to talk about today?
Yeah, we're here to talk about My Adventures with Superman, which airs on Adult Swim, and we had an advance screener for it from our friends at Adult Swim. So thank you to them.
Yeah,
Very.
thank you to the wonderful PR people at Adult Swim.
Yeah.
They have granted you specifically some of our more entertaining interviews too.
Yeah.
Back
Yeah.
going all the way past like the Adult Swim Yule log, which
Ulog,
was a lot of fun.
Michael
Um,
Cusack for Yellow was on the show.
yeah. So go check out all that stuff. Great work from Gene and great work from the people that he talked to. And we're here to talk about more great work today. With my adventures with Superman. We're going to recap season one a little bit really quickly because we haven't really talked about this show on the show at all.
Yeah.
Um,
No. Yeah, we do
I'll
love it though. That's
yeah,
good.
like I'm not gonna lie. Like if you're watching this show, you follow us on social media basically, and
Yeah.
we've not been shy about how much we love this show. So we just want to mention really quickly, we're not going to spoil anything in the season two episodes that we were given to watch. Um, we will spoil some stuff from season one just because it's been like a year now since it came out, and we both really loved it. And I want to
Mhm.
ask Eugene, what is like a favorite moment or episode from that first season that like really spoke to you as like, oh, this is one of my favorite new Superman adaptations?
Yeah. No, no, it's yeah, this episode where basically he tells Lois that he's Superman because it's like pretty early in his career and usually in the comics or in the mythos or in the movies, like he kind of tells her a little late in the game, especially in the comics. It's like 80 years. Really finally tells her, or like 70 years. But yeah, and when the episode in the show, I'm like, oh, that's really cool because that's like kind of like one of those things where it's like about them and them as a couple. So it's like this thing shouldn't get in the way and should only make them stronger. So I felt like the show was going in this like unique direction.
Yeah, they're not really they're playing the hits, but they're not like holding out on people. Like
Mhm.
they're the relationship and character dynamics aren't comfortable just in one specific spot. Like the dynamics are not going to continue to be one way for like the rest of the show. It's like they're constantly challenged and evolving. Like Jimmy's like a millionaire by the end of the first
Yeah,
season,
that's cool.
which is like funny
Yeah,
because like they set that up like that he's like
Mhm.
actually really good at like the social media thing and like
Yeah,
he's very new age and stuff like that and um like people underestimate him and then one of like the more jockey reporters takes him under his wing because like he relates to him like that stuff's like really fun. um I think for me one of my favorite it is my favorite moment. It's I tweet about it like every couple months at this point. It's the final fight between Superman and Parasite when he's
oh
like
yeah,
Shin Parasite.
that was
They just
cool.
go
Yeah,
full on Shin Godzilla, which is just like obviously this show speaks to you and I as people that like anime and Godzilla, that Godzilla specifically too.
Mhm.
Um, it's ringing some bells for us. But just that moment where the city comes together through Lois and Jimmy's help to like
Mhm.
help Superman beat
Yeah.
Parasite and that fucking great moment. I'll put the clip here.
You chose to be a monster, Ivo.
And what does that make an alien freak like you?
Don't you read the paper?
I'm Superman.
That's the fucking shit right there.
Yeah, exactly. He's
That
such
is so cool and
Mhm.
awesome. And
Yeah.
like but it's also like super sweet because like the way, in my opinion, like what I like about Superman isn't that like it's whenever he beats like an antagonist or a villain, like it's never like out of anger. You know, like he can get angry. Like there's conflict that you can mine from that and stuff like
Sure.
that. Um, but I think there's something to be said about like when he when he takes down Parasite, like he basically like whispers the final line to him, not to intimidate him, just like that's why I am the way I am, you know, like and in that fight he's always constantly trying to talk him down. He's like, no, you don't have to do this. And like
Yeah,
at
yeah,
first it's like kind of funny because it's like, oh, you're clearly like on the losing end, so some of it is like just feeble, you know, out of like attempts at survival, and then by the end it's like, no, like really, you don't have to do this. I'm about to win this, and
yeah.
I don't know,
Well,
it's just such a great dynamic, and maybe it's like a little back to basics for the Blue Boy Scout, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that, you
no,
know?
yeah. I mean, like people are always trying to like criticize or critique the character because he's like so invincible, but it's like that's what makes him so interesting. It's just you. It's like you just don't know like about the character what makes him so great because he is, yeah, just Superman, and just the idea of someone with that much power could be that good is really interesting. I think at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think people think the fantasy of Superman is having all the power. It's really just like in it like in a world where in the real world where a lot of people have a lot of power, not superpowers obviously, but it seems like a lot of people in positions of power don't actually help their fellow person.
No, yeah.
And I think that the real fantasy of Superman is like, yeah, what if a good guy just had the potential to help as many people as possible? And
Mhm.
I don't know, I think people try to deconstruct that
Yeah.
more at this point than we've seen the basic Superman story play out.
Hmm.
You know, there's nothing wrong with deconstructions. I'm the BVS defender on this podcast, so
Right,
I
yeah,
understand
yeah,
where I'm coming from here. But you know, it's like we just haven't seen this that often in adaptations, and I don't know, it really spoke to me. It was really
yeah, yeah.
fantastic first
It's really
season,
good.
one of the better superhero shows by a
Hmm.
significant margin, I would
Yeah.
argue.
Also, I love Jack Quaid as Superman. Great performance. He's really
Oh
good.
yeah, hmm
Great actor. Good voice actor too. Like all the voices are really well casted. There's a lot of good direction. Even like people you would never expect to play certain characters are really good. Like I think I was like telling you, I'm like, oh, I love Chris Parnell basically as like proto Deathstroke. He's Deathstroke, but it's like
yeah,
right before he becomes Deathstroke, and it's like that's such an inspired choice. Like because Chris Parnell, like he always kind of plays like Jerry on Rick and Morty, where he's kind of like like not sleazy, but they're all kind of like spineless characters, and he plays like Deathstroke. You know?
yeah. Chris Parnell has range. I'm so glad you brought that
Yeah,
up because like
yeah,
I
it's
wanted to
good.
make sure we talked about the cast, but God, yeah, what a inspired choice
Yeah.
for Slade Wilson. And
Hmm.
if you want to like really take a look at his range, having just said that he played Deathstroke in this show for
Yeah.
Task Force X, he is also Dr. Spaceman on 30 Rock. So
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
a truly like
Yeah.
talented actor with
Yeah.
insane
Uh,
range.
exactly. Or I forgot the name of that character he's in, and like I think he's just called Glenn or something in Anchorman.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, like for
Ron, you poop
yeah.
mouth.
So dude, just like even in like a bit role, he's like really funny. So yeah, he's great.
Yeah. Let's see who else we really got to mention. I didn't know this.
Hmm.
Reed Scott plays Jonathan Kent. Do you
Yep.
know who Reed Scott is?
A little familiar, but
Okay, so he plays Dan Egan on Veep for people that watched Veep,
oh
which is like when I just said that, you're like,
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
Pa Kent and that what the fuck? He was in the last two seasons of Mrs. Maisel. But
Gotcha.
superhero fans will know him from the Venom movies where he plays the new love interest and eventual
Oh yeah.
fiance of Michelle Williams. So what a fucking it's a weird cast in hindsight, but it's really great. Yeah, Jack Quaid as an amazing Superman. Alice Lee
Mhm.
as Lois Lane is really
She's
great.
good. Yeah, she's great.
I called her the biblically accurate Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Like I remember some criticism in about the first season. They're like, "Oh, she's selfish because she threw herself off a roof to get Superman to reveal himself." It's like, no, that's like that's a that's a normal Tuesday
Yeah.
for
Well,
Lois
what's
Lane.
yeah, well, what's the friggin' thing? Well, no, that's like the lowest thing because it's even though it's a deleted scene, originally in the director's cut, which is the cut that's supposed to be the movie for Richard Donner, was it like Lois? Did you ever see that scene where it's like Lois? She's like, "I know you're Superman."
Hmm.
Clark Kent. She's like, "I have a gun," and then he's like, "Oh well," it's like, "What are you gonna do? Shoot me?" And she shoots him, and then he tells her, "Well, okay, like you're lucky you got like it right." And she's like, "No, I had blanks."
Yeah.
And it's like, she kind of bluffed him, but it's like, that I think that's really the character,
Yeah, but I mean, she's just as much, in my opinion, I think she's just as much a fighter of truth, justice, in the American way as Superman. She's just
Yeah,
the one who
exactly.
does it without superpowers. She's like always
Yeah.
fighting and advocating for the truth and the voiceless and willing to throw a punch. And
Mhm.
yeah, she's perfect in this show. She's like I think this is it. This is the true balance between Superman and Lois Lane is Bringing Up Baby. If you've seen the movie Bringing Up Baby, that's the dynamic they should have. If you haven't
Yeah.
seen Bringing Up Baby, watch it. It's one of the funniest movies ever made. It's probably playing on TCM right now as you're
Oh,
watching or
probably.
listening to this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's a great movie. It's one of my favorites. That central dynamic that's the Superman Lois Lane dynamic.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
Ishmael Saeed as Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, he's great.
He's great. He's just like the best friend you want
Yeah.
in life.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I mean, but that's kind of our thoughts on the first season. Obviously, we're in love with it. Gene, are we in love with the first 2 episodes of season 2?
Yeah, yeah. Pretty great. Got the screeners for that. Without spoiling anything, I feel like the some of the threads, the plot lines that we saw in that finale, in like, you know, and if you've seen the finale, you kind of know what I'm talking about. Get really paid off, and they do things in a very interesting way with where we left things. That finale was also really great with because you saw like Jor-El and the Kryptonians, and then, well, yeah, if you've seen the show, like Brainiac,
Yeah, if you've seen the
yeah,
finale, you know what Gene's talking about.
yeah, exactly. So I'm very excited to kind of see like how the creators and like the art directors like reinterpret characters, because I think what I love about this show is like the reinterpretation of it, because it's not, it's in writing, where the writing kind of reminds me of like Insomniac Spider-Man, where the Insomniac Spider-Man's like, well, we're gonna have this like classic character but slightly different. So I appreciate that, but also like the art style, where the art style is like, we're gonna reintroduce like Parasite, and he's gonna be like a Godzilla, where it's very anime inspired, and it's like it reinterprets like characters like Livewire, or who did they have last season that was like
Banshee.
Banshee, and it's like, oh, this is really interesting how they handle these characters, or like obviously Deathstroke, Brainiac, Luthor, right?
Well, not officially until season 2. They give
Oh,
it away
okay.
in the trailer.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's like,
yeah.
and if you
So
watch that first season, when the guy's like, "Oh, my name's Alexander," and I think he says Lex at one point, and you're like, "Yeah,
yeah,
obviously that's where we're
yeah,
going."
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, like just seeing like how the art looks different, because all the artwork is really great. I love the animation in the show.
Yeah, it's really fantastic. Very anime inspired. And I I don't remember what studio does it. Sorry, I should have written
No,
this
no, yeah.
down. Oh, this is probably why I like it. Studio Mir, for any animation nerds out there, you would know them for doing most of the work on Legend of Korra.
Your favorite show.
Yeah,
Your
so it's
favorite
like,
show. So yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Kipo and the Age of the Wonder Beast, which I also loved a lot. Uh, and for more recent super fans, X-Men 97.
Oh
They
yeah,
did the animation on that, which
pretty
just
good.
wrapped up its first season, and I know Gene and many others, basically everyone, is telling me to watch it. So
Mhm.
clearly it's working out for Studio Mirror.
Yeah, yeah. Gotta support animation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
TD.
sorry,
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys can hear my cat. She's excited about this show too.
she is too. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
hear it.
That's fine. She's excited. It's all good.
But yeah,
So I didn't get the opportunity to watch the second episode, but I did see the first one, and yes, it's wonderful. I think something I really like about the writing of the show too is, yeah, the reinterpretation of the characters that we know and love, but um again, how it, like, not just, it isn't comfortable leaving character relationships and dynamics in one mode, like it's always challenging them.
Mhm.
And I'll just say, like, when there's I was worried certain people would withhold certain aspects of themselves for periods of time. That's one of my least favorite tropes. But I think how this show challenges characters that who struggle to understand themselves. Um, I think it handles it very well, and the conflicts they present within those challenges, character wise, is it feels very truthful to me, even though these are 21-minute episodes or whatever, like little chunks with commercial breaks and everything. It's very well written. I mean, we have to talk about like the action. Also, this superhero stuff does tend to have action in it.
Yeah.
And it's really great. You know, some of it. Just to even hop back to the first season, I want to say like I wasn't sure how much mileage they were going to get out of another interpretation of Superman, even though I was looking forward to the show. I loved it much more than I ever thought I would. But like the first episode, they're starting him off by like fighting weird military robots. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. What else you got? And then it's like, oh, well, this stuff is like we're studying like Kryptonian technology. And at first I was like, oh, we're doing like the Oscorp thing where it's like everything's tied to Oscorp. And I didn't know how I felt about that. But they get enough mileage out of it, and I think it's interesting that it's like the very thing that makes Superman super in the hands of the wrong people. It just goes to show why Superman and Clark Kent is even more of a hero. You know, it's like it shows how wrong people can use these same like tools and turn them into weapons. And so interesting stuff. Like very like not weak, but like, you know, lowercase commentary. It's not like shouted out from the rooftops of every episode, but it's like there that I really appreciate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And yeah, like how they pick up the threads from the end of the first season. Because like shows when they do big season finales, they either do big cliffhangers or they do like a time jump. And there's like a little one here, but not big. You know, like it's very soon. It's not like 2 years later or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, just it kind of feels like if they release these 2 seasons like as one season as of 20 episodes instead of 2 seasons of 10 episodes each, it would have felt like I wouldn't have been able to tell a difference, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's always great to just be able to jump back into a show like you didn't miss a beat. I don't know how you feel about this, Gene, but for me, like when I watch like movies, I'm going for like a once in a lifetime experience in the theater most of the time, right? Like this is a very broad statement, but this walk with me for a second. With TV shows, I think like long form television shows, they're kind of like sitting down and like catching up with your fictional friends, you know. Maybe that sounds sad, I don't know. But like I think that's what it's like. You check in and see what these characters are up to. You know, you're not going for the spectacle. TV can have spectacle now more than ever, given like the advent of new technology and stuff like that. But there is something you get out of a good TV show that you don't get out of a good movie, and that's or at least and I say that as primarily a movie guy, but this was obviously we love this. We can't wait to watch more. Gene, any final thoughts?
No, go see it. It's on like all the that's cool. It's on all the apps, all the streaming services. It's gonna be on.
Well, it's on the one app.
Just watch it because it's fun. It's great. I love it.
So again, thanks to the people at Adult Swim for getting this over to us. Thanks to everyone who watches the show. Gene, where can people find you?
Find me on Twitter, Instagram, Gene9892.
Yeah, you can follow me at the Diego Crespo, the Waffle Press on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, and Patreon, where you can get early access to some stuff. There is stuff. There's going to be stuff on the Patreon when this comes out, so go check it out. Last 2 secret episodes of the retrospective. Enjoy those. And we'll be back to probably talk about the rest of the season when it wraps up. I think we're going to obligate ourselves to do that because the show would really have to drop the ball to lose us at this point. So
exactly.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We have been professionally unprofessional.